Good morning. My name is Brian Wheeler, Director of Communications for the City of Charlottesville. Welcome to Cville360, a program to inform and engage the Charlottesville community. Cville360 is available on our streaming sites, Comcast Channel 10, and on a companion Zoom webinar so you can tune in live and on demand. The program allows us to engage our community and provide you access to city leaders, especially during this time of the coronavirus pandemic. We use the Zoom webinar so you can join the broadcast and ask questions of our guest. If you want to try the webinar, visit charlottesville.gov/Zoom for the registration link, which appears at the bottom of the page. When we take questions, we will allow up to 8 people to address our guest. You will have up to 3 minutes to ask a question or make a comment on the topic being discussed. Today's show is all about water conservation initiatives in the City of Charlottesville and the unveiling of the Imagine a Day Without Water Art Contest winners. I'm joined in studio this morning by Jill Greiner, the City of Charlottesville's Water Efficiency Program Coordinator. Welcome, Jill.
Hi, Brian. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's good to have you in the studio and outside your home office.
Yes, yeah.
So you're back in a real city office, so to speak, here.
Absolutely.
Now, I know you're excited to share the art contest submissions. We've put out a press release announcing the winners, but we get to re-announce them today, which is exciting. But first, let's talk about you.
Okay, sounds good.
I think one question people might have is, what does a water efficiency program coordinator do, and how long have you been doing this?
Yeah, so I think my position's pretty great, obviously. But I've been doing this position for 6 years. I've been managing the water conservation for the city. And so I get to do a lot of different things, which is great. Some things like this sort of outreach efforts, so a lot of engagement with the community and just getting them aware of how to save water. Also, I manage our rebate programs. So we've got a toilet rebate and a rain bill rebate program that I help manage for the city. And I also make sure that the city's own water usage is on track and we're saving water as well.
Great. And I know we're going to have a lot of students who watch this program, and they might be curious, how you got into this career. What kind of education did you have? What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so I have always loved water. And in fact, I don't think my parents could pull me away from our local aquarium when I was a kid. And that was sort of my favorite place to be. So it's not really surprising that I'm still doing water-related efforts these days. But I have a lot of background in science and research and got a bachelor's in science and biology focused on kind of ecology. And then I went and got my master's in environmental science, and I focused on biogeochemistry, which is basically water and sediment kind of thing. And that was actually at UVA, so I was in the area and looking around for jobs, and this came up, and it was kind of my dream job, which worked out really well. And so, yeah, been here ever since.
Well, we're very fortunate to have you. Now, what bodies of water did you grow up around? I mean, what sparked that?
Yeah, so I lived on the Long Island Sound, so up in Connecticut area, New England, and so it was more marine-based. Obviously, we don't have any oceans around here, and that's also what I did my research on. But it's always, water is very consistent, which is nice, and there's still a lot of ways that I can help sort of communicate the importance of water as a resource, and I think it's just such an important thing, and so being able to apply a lot of my education and experiences to a real-world setting has been really important for me and exciting too.
Good. Well, on to the contest, and this is the Imagine a Day Without Water campaign, and on the screen behind you, we've been showing some of the artwork that was submitted for this contest. But why don't you start by telling us what you asked the students to do? What was the prompt for this?
So this year is our 6th year holding this contest, which is really exciting. And, each year we try and change up the theme just a little bit, just to make it interesting and fun for the kids. And this year's theme was what water means to them. And they were, able to really express the value of water with that message and artistically convey it kind of however they wanted and why it was important to them, their community, to Charlottesville. And we're always excited to see what they come up with because, these students and the youth in the area are really creative with that message. And so, this year it was a little different, obviously with COVID, and we had to pivot some things. We did make it a little more accessible on the digital end, which was very exciting. And we had a great, a lot of people participated, which was exciting.
And what other organizations are involved?
Yeah, so this is efforts with the City of Charlottesville, Albemarle County Service Authority, and Ravenna Water Sewer Authority. We thought it was really important for us all to come together and stress the importance of the value of water and why we need to save it. And, our youth really do a great job at conveying that. And so it's just a great way to all come together and talk about our water supply, our water conservation efforts, and get everyone involved in a more unique way. And so, this year we had all, a representative from each group as the judge. And so it was hard. We had to go through 120 entries. And, they're really great entries. And so we had to select sort of the top from each one. We also identified the top 60 from those entries, and we put those online, and we let the community select sort of their favorite, which is always fun to do because, you can share them, you can show them to your family, get them to vote. And so we had a lot of interest in that too and had a lot of great people voting as well.
And we've talked about how we have to pivot and do things differently during this pandemic. Certainly this, even today, is different from what you would have done last year. So what's the traditional unveiling of this art performance?
Yeah, so normally we have a little, more of a award ceremony for them, and the kids are able to come up and they accept their award, and it's really exciting. And so we're unfortunate, not able to do that, but we do want to showcase their amazing artwork and just how well they did. And so we're going to be showing up their art up here, which I think it still gives them some recognition and just how amazing these students did. But it's always hard, but I think this is still a great way to honor them and all their hard work.
That's great. Well, are you ready to name some winners?
Yes, absolutely.
All right. I'm going to share my screen and we'll start bringing those up in just a moment.
Yeah, so, and I can mention that we we have 6 winners, and they all are going to receive a $200 gift card, which is exciting, and then also a little water conservation goodie bag. And so our first winner is the K through 2nd grade, and her name is Jennifer Zhu, and she's from Venable, and she's grade 1, and she was able to make this beautiful drawing where she sort of shows a world with or without water, which I think just has a great impact. And there she is with her holding her artwork, which is really, really great. So great job, Jennifer. Really, really beautiful. And then our 3rd and 4th grade winner is Claudia. She is from Peabody School and then only in 4th grade. And I really enjoyed her, underwater scene here. She did a great job kind of showing all the, amazing, animals and species that need water. And she had a very apt point that, you needed water to even create this artwork. It's written on the bottom there. So I thought that was also a very great point. And so our next winner, the 5th and 6th, is Ruby Reed, and she's from Montessori, Mountaintop Montessori, grade 5, and she made almost photograph-worthy art of a turtle, and I just I think it was very striking.
And was that beautiful. A painting?
That's a painting, yeah. Oh. So very talented, and I really think it's just a great that's she really likes the underwater species, and it's very important, obviously, to them, water. Yeah. So I think that's a great way of showing that.
It almost looks like it could be chalk.
Yeah, absolutely. And then our next winner is a 7th grader, Shokef, and she's from Buford Middle School. She did a really great landscape portrait of a waterfall and just some fall trees, and it was just really pretty way of just showing just our landscape and just how much it uses water as well. And really great job. And then our 9th through 12th grade winner is Emily from Albemarle High School, and she's in grade 9. And I really liked this because it kind of showed her, viewing all these different views of her using water or what she thinks is important that needs water. And this really shows just really how many things we use and do that need water, just, honestly about everything. And, it's a great way of kind of conveying all those aspects, and she did a really great job with that.
Yeah, that's really imaginative. It's sort of meta, right there.
Yeah, a picture and a picture and a picture.
Yeah, how many entries is that?
Yeah, right? So, yeah, she did a great job there. And then our last but not least, the fan favorite, was very exciting to have Vivian from Henley Middle School. She's only in grade 6, and what really was great about this is she kind of connected water to our water supply. It's got to come from somewhere, and kind of connected that to our tap water, and having the faucet there. And so I really liked that connection to show where our water is coming from, and that it's all the effort that it takes to get to our tap water. And so she was the winner because we had a lot of people vote and selected her, which was exciting. So
that's great.
Yeah, amazing.
Well, if you were watching via Zoom, a little box might have been covering up some of that information on the screen, but rest assured, on TV and on our streaming channels, you can get the full experience of those slides. So educators played a role in this as well. So tell us about how you work with teachers in the community and what they do.
Yeah, so we always want to engage our teachers just to give them more resources to talk to kids about why water is important. And, a lot of great conversations come out of this contest. Kids want to talk about what's important to them and why water is important to them. And so we want to help, support both those conversations, give them more resources, and just encourage their engagement and having them, do some sort of activity that's maybe different than they normally do. Obviously, with the pandemics, usually we're more involved in the schools, and every kid gets like a flyer to take home, but it was a little harder this year. So we got the message out to all the teachers, and we really appreciated those that were able to put this out, even with remote learning and everything. And so there's a lot going on this year, so we appreciate those that took the time. And so in a way, a little recognize them. If the teacher was able to, have some of their students participate, and the students could indicate if they were participating on behalf of their teacher, they would be entered into a drawing. And the more the students participated, the more increased their odds, which is always nice. And they're also going to be honored with a $200 gift card, which is always nice for school supplies, and also a little water conservation goodie bag. And so we really appreciated all the teacher support, and I know they're doing a lot right now, especially. So any way we can thank them, we would love to thank them all, but this is hopefully just gives some recognition to them.
Why don't we get in and show some of the teachers that you want to recognize?
Yeah, so our first one is Emily Hudson. She's from Greiner Elementary, and she had 7 students submit their artwork. I've showcased one there. So very excited, and she was very excited when she learned about her winning this. So we want to thank Emily. And then also we've got Brittany Kaufman from Red Hill Elementary School, had 3 students submit under her, and showcased a little of her kids' artwork there. And then we had got Nicole from Walker Upper Elementary School, and had 3 students submit artwork, and showcased one of the photography entries that we got from one of her students. And then last but not least, we've got Kimberly Taylor from Village School, and had 17 students submit artwork.
Wow.
I think she always has a lot of great entries from her students every year, so we always appreciate her participation. And some really great artwork came from all these teachers, and all the ones that we couldn't honor as well.
Great. Well, I want to pause right there and see if we have an audience here virtually as well, see if they have any questions or comments they want to make. The webinar allows you to join the broadcast and ask questions of our guests, and I'll call on people in the order in which they raise their hands. So you can raise your hand by clicking the raise hand icon in the Zoom webinar, and if you're joining us via telephone, you can press *9. And right now I don't see any hands raised, but if anyone does, we'll come back to you and bring you onto the program. So Jill, at the top of the program, when you were talking about your job, you mentioned you oversee a number of different water conservation programs, both with the city, with the community, and we talked about the partnership that you have to have with other departments, but also with other agencies in town. And most people in the community know we have city, county, UVA, so they're used to hearing about those 3 things. In this case, we have the city, which does its own water utility. We have the Albemarle County Service Authority, which handles customers in Albemarle County. And then both the city and county buy wholesale water and sewer services from the Ravenna Water and Sewer Authority. By the way, trivia, when those boards meet, it's actually called a 4 boards meeting. So you have the Board of Supervisors, City Council, ACSA, RWSA. The last time I think they might have had a 4 boards meeting was to talk about chloramines and treating water, or it might have been the water supply, long-term planning. So we have all those groups. In what other ways do you work to help support the community saving water?
Yeah, so a lot of mouthful with all the organizations there, but they all do phenomenal work to make sure that all of our community gets water 24/7, clean, a really great water quality. But on the same side, we want to make sure we're saving that water because there's a lot of work that goes into getting that water to your tap. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of us on the city and also Armagh County Service Authority side work on ways to save. And both of our organizations support rebate programs and also some incentives that we have. And I've got a couple items here that are part of our water conservation kits. And they're really great because, first of all, they're free for anyone that is a city or Armagh County Service Authority customer. And you get low-flow shower heads, just like this. So, pretty nice-looking ones. And they're going to use less water than sort of a typical standard shower head. But I have one in my shower. Love it. It's got a couple settings.
Okay, your hair looks great today.
Thank you.
So it must be working okay.
But, it has good pressure because what it does is it's going to add a little air to the water. So it's still going to be a decent amount of pressure than you're kind of used to, but it's still going to use less water, which is great. So that way for those people that like to take a little longer, this will hopefully help sort of reduce that usage. And we also have these guys, which are faucet aerators. They're also kind of work similar to the shower head. So they add air to your water. It's going to be similar force and pressure than your normal faucet, but it's using less water. And you don't have to do anything except for just, twist them on. Very easy to install yourself, which is really great. So these are super easy. One's for kitchen, one's for your bathroom. And, they're just quick ways that, we use our faucets all the time. So you can think every time you turn on the faucet, you're saving water that way.
And what do you say to people who maybe are on a well, they live in a rural area, and so they're not paying for the water as directly, right? What do you say to them?
I still think it's important to save water. Although, we might have a great supply now. We have had droughts in Charlottesville, and it's been an issue. And I know I've talked to several people on well water that have had issues and need to, make sure they're not using too much. So if we all work together to reduce our water usage now, we're going to have less and fewer issues in the long term. So making sure, we're just using only what we need, right? We don't need to waste unnecessary water if we don't have to. And so I think just to be a good steward in Charlottesville and the surrounding area is just important for everyone to sort of, take hold of and try and implement.
Well, and talking about being good stewards, I mean, those 4 boards, I think, have invested a lot of time and talent into making sure our water supply is sufficient, safe. And I mentioned chloramines, and for those who know what that is in the audience, I want to clarify that that's something we decided not to do.
To have, yes.
We have granular activated carbon treating our water. So basically we have a
giant Brita filter, right?
A giant Brita filter. Is that unusual?
Not necessarily. Every locality does something different.
Yeah.
I think it depends on your water supply, where your water source is coming from, the chemistry of that water. And I think just in our area, it made sense to use that. We have chlorine in it, but again, it's needed to make sure it stays safe to your tap. But then, the basically Brita filter acts like another filter system just to make it taste really good and clean and make sure there's nothing in there. And, I think we are in a unique setup that we have such a good, robust system that's able to do our entire water supply and do it so effectively. So it's really exciting to see all the great initiatives that, all the groups involved are doing to make sure we have a sustainable and healthy water supply.
And another cool fact that I'm sure these students are learning from these teachers is that we get all of our water from our own watershed for the most part. So the topography of Albemarle and Charlottesville means that the rain that falls here is the water that we're drinking. So we're not having to rely on, the James River or some other external source that we don't have control over. So the environmental reasons to protect what we have, are very important, and we can control them ourselves.
Yeah, and that comes also into play of, what we're doing outside, picking up your pet's waste, not littering. All that has a huge impact on our water supply and also how clean it is. so how much work we need to do to make sure it stays clean and sustainable for our drinking water as well. So, when you're walking by a stream and you see some trash, it's really important to pick that up and make sure that it doesn't get into our water supply, because that is our drinking water. Rivanna River is a primary water source for Charlottesville and also the surrounding Albemarle County, which is really is great water supply, and really it's been wonderful to sort of see how it's kept us sustainable and healthy.
Well, I want to take another opportunity to let the audience know that if you want to get involved in the conversation, you can click the raise hand icon in the Zoom webinar. We'd love to have your comments about all things water conservation and about the Imagine a Day Without Water art contest winners. So just feel free to click that raise hand icon. We'll bring you into the conversation. So I have a question. Can I share a personal story?
Absolutely.
About a leaky toilet?
Love talking about toilets.
Okay. So I've heard you say, we need to address those leaks as soon as they happen. And it's both, it could be a financial issue because you're wasting water.
Yeah.
Right? You can call the city and get access to a new flapper.
Yes.
Right?
Yep. And also these, which are...
Now, what is that?
Leak detection dye tablets.
Okay.
And so they're basically like food coloring for your toilet.
Okay.
You put them in the top tank of the toilet. You let it sit for about 10 minutes. If you see blue dye show up in the bowl, your toilet's running. So that means that the water from the top tank is just continuously running through your toilet, down the drain, wasting, your water bill's likely higher than it should be.
Yep.
But sometimes you might not notice it. They could be silent leaks. Sometimes you hear them singing a little bit. And so that's the ways to identify it.
Well, I did not need those tablets in my case.
Yeah, you could hear yours.
I could hear my little dripping. But I procrastinated about it. And I'm on a well, so it wasn't a financial issue. But here's what happened. We went out of town one weekend, came back, opened the front door, and the house was flooded.
Sure.
And what happened was the toilet got stopped up, which happens, and that drip then had nowhere else to go but the second floor, through the ceiling down to the first floor, through that floor down to the basement. And so it did end up becoming a very expensive drip.
I bet, absolutely, yeah. So that's why,
So please, learn from me here. Don't if you have a drip, quickly take care of it, because you never know what other things might compound the problem.
And most of the time, the easy fix is replacing that flapper. It's just a little rubber piece that it's in water constantly, so it's going to degrade over time. And actually, the city does offer free universal flappers that you can pick up at City Hall. But it's a quick fix, and they're usually easily repaired, and it can save you a lot of money and water down the road. If you are using a more older style toilet, I would encourage you to look into our toilet rebate program. The city and Albemarle County Service Authority offers $100 when you replace anything that's using 3+ gallons of water per flush with a WaterSense labeled one, which is going to use 1.28 gallons per flush, which is a lot less when you think about it. Every time you flush your toilet, you're using about a third of that water needed. And these have been certified to work just as well as sort of the standard models that you're used to. They're not going to be at all reducing, how efficient they are. Or how good they work. They are just more water efficient. And so we've got $100 that can go to the installation of it and the toilet itself, which is really great.
Is there anything else that you want to share that we haven't talked about yet?
I'd say the other thing we have is also a rain barrel rebate. I know it's winter, so maybe not the best time, but come spring, you're thinking about your gardens. I know gardening was a big thing this COVID. And if you need to water your plants or whatever, these are great. We offer a $30 rebate to install a rain barrel rebate in your home, both for the city and Albemarle County Service Authority customers. And they're really easy to install, hook up to your gutter, and then you've got a water supply that you can use whenever you need. And it is good to always remember to, if you have to water, avoid watering when it's really sunny out or like peak heat, and water early in the morning or late in the evening, and also when it hasn't rained recently or there maybe is water in the future. Yep.
Do you know where your next water adventure is going to be? Have you got plans?
Yeah, so we're looking into some ideas for March. It's our Fix a Leak week, mid-March, and usually we have an amazing Fix a Leak Family 5K, where you run after a running toilet. It's pretty funny. And
I should now be that running toilet,
right.
obviously.
Well, we always need new people to put that outfit on. So this year, I think we're probably going to try maybe do it remote, or at least do some sort of, something around fixing leaks in homes, just because it is, as we talked about, a very important topic and wastes a lot of water and money for people in the community. So we'll be doing something sometime in mid-March around that idea of finding fixed leaks in your home. So keep an eye out.
Good. Well, we will have you back on the program for that.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Where can the community get more information, both about the art contest and all the programs you've just talked about?
Yeah, you can go to our website. It's charlottesville.gov/water conservation. And we've got a lot of great resources, information, and some fun, tips and ideas for, if you're at your home, if you're at work, if you're at school, all of those are sort of covered.
Excellent. Well,
Yeah.
we hope people will check that out.
Great.
Thank you for being with us today and sharing this great artwork. It's always nice to see what our students have been doing.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. And again, thank you to the community and everyone who participated. We were really blown away this year by all the great work that was done.
Excellent. Well, that concludes today's program, and I want to thank you for joining us. Please contact me with your feedback about future show topics. And as always, please stay healthy. Thank you.